Growing up in Africa, or more specifically Nigeria, prayer was everything. Okay, prayer was the way people started their days, was the way people ended their sentences, was the way people ended their nights. Prayer and morning devotion. We did that in boarding school, we did that in church, we did that in grandma's place. It was everywhere. Okay, and then as time would go on, I would come to understand as an adult that prayer might have been a way for us to sort of sedate and meditate away actual action, because there were a lot of things that we could have done to make things better rather than praying over it, but we would just hope that it would just disappear if we called God strong enough, which is why we had intense churches like Mountain of Fire. Mountain of Fire was like a gangster version of the Pentecostal church. Like, so like, let's say Pentecostal used to pray like, Father, in the name of Jesus, I thank you. I come to you. This is a great day, Father. Mountain of Fire used to say, Father, every enemy that has taken my breath away suffocates them. Yes, it was basically the wrestling of church. Mountain of Fire was essentially taking what we had been doing for decades and turned it into something that was just violent, but ultimately it was righteous and holy because it used God's name. It called on God. I remember the first time my grandmother took me to Pentecostal because she felt like her church wasn't giving her the hit of Christianity that she wanted. She wanted a stronger strain of Christianity, kind of like me with coffee. Apple doesn't fall too far from the what? Mango tree. Anyways, no, she wanted a stronger strain of Christianity. So she takes me to this Mountain of Fire church that our neighbor had been inviting us to forever. He's the calmest dude, by the way. Calmest guy I ever seen in the neighborhood. Somehow, so many sub stories, but we're going to start with that one for now. Somehow he is going to one of the most aggressive churches. And I was like, yeah, there's no correlation there. You're not using an aggressive, angry, pitching church to take out the anger that you are suppressing at home. Of course not. That's not. Anyways, my grandmother decides to take us there. It's different. I'm looking around. I'm like, yo, shit, man, this is crazy. Everybody's so intense. But if I don't join in, right, they're looking at you like you're the demon, right? Or you're the one that they're praying against. Because the way African churches worked back then, if you don't pray or join the violent prayer testimony like segments, you ultimately were the demon they were praying against, and you might have been possessed. Because if anybody opened their eyes in the middle of prayer and happened to catch you, they say every demon in the room, make sure you like fall down and die, and they open their eyes and you see you there and you're standing, you're chilling. This nigga's possessed. This nigga's possessed. But anyways, basically, she took me to this church, and that was, but this is just one of the crazy church and morning devotion memories I have. At a certain point, I had lived with different family members and all of them had morning devotion. And morning devotion, to explain the concept to you, was something where we'd wake up like around like 6 a.m. was even too late, 5 a.m. to read the Bible, go over the lessons and objectives and everything, and you meditate and get a memory verse, and you do it over and over again, repeat morning and night, morning and night, morning and night. And I started to realize, you think about it, look at the nature of the country, nature of the people, nature of the things that are going on. It just seemed like we just repeated these things to ourselves, but we didn't act out on them. I don't think anybody remembered what half of these sermons said. They just did them. They just said the thing. Like you did your prayers, and then it was over. That was it. Same thing with morning devotion and night devotion. And the worst thing that ever happened to me with morning devotion was one time, I think I had almost like slept past, and our in boarding school, and our teacher, who was also the computer teacher, a savage, Mr. Pascal, short, stocky dude. I don't know why all computer teachers had this very deep, meaty head, and he this head, like just stocky head, just strong, wide. He looked like a brolic egg, like a muscle building egg. Anyways, Mr. Pascal wakes everybody up, but we're done. At this point, we're dead. We knew we were dead. right? Because Mr. Pascal also decides to rev up the game. And in one of the last episodes, I told you guys about the whips and the canes. I did not tell you that some people got innovative and decided to pick any item they could reach. Mr. Pascal decided to use a log. I need you to understand. Nothing stopped him from breaking our legs that day. Nothing. That man was using all his strength. He's using all his physical strength to hit kids more than 8 times with a log. And when I say a log, I mean like the ones that you use for the closet hanger. And he just, he was hitting everybody. I swore I was going to die that day. Like I had made up my mind, that this was the day that I was leaving Earth. I saw a line because he had us all lined up. So when we were on the line, some people had made it into service early. Shout out to those guys, shop guys, traders though. They are not, sometimes you have your guys and some people are just out to betray you, but that's cool. We're not going to bring that up. But anyways, Pascal ends up having all of us do this, line up, and you're seeing everybody, like you're seeing your peers get tortured. So you too, you're scared because you're watching the torture that's happening. You're wondering what's next for you. Because also you can't take that. We're going one by one. Goom, 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 goom. That's how it sounds, hitting your bones. For morning devotion, man, I can't wait to get out of this country. That's all I could think. I'm sorry. I just wanted more rights. I wanted to be able to say, that is ridiculous. You're using a log for morning devotion. Anyways, I say all that to say, you start to learn that the prayers and the aggressive prayer nature of, is, and I started to look into it and realized that the devotions had started from the slavery era. Because even when you come down to, like, even my grandparents were doing it. Wake up in the morning, you can never change. You can never change. You can never change. Jesus, they say forever. The constants, it's mesmerizing. It's constant. You're just there nagging Jesus. And I'm sure Jesus must have been pissed because none of that was praising him. That is not how praise works. Praise is like, hey, like, yeah, big up. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's supposed to be like, even if it's worship is like, oh my God, oh you got, like, that's the energy for worship. If you're doing how excellent is your name, Allah, that's dead. And I want to believe that my God is a thinking God, and he knows. He knows what's miserable and what's not. Where do I start? Or where do I end? Anyways, the point here is it was a miserable time. I swear these things are never even long enough. I thought I could fit every single one of these stories into this, but we'll see. Maybe there'll be a live show someday, huh? But anyways, yeah. The prayers were just something that was introduced probably by slavery. I hate to say it, but I did the research, and yes, the slave masters used to have the slaves actually conduct devotions. It was part of the practice, especially on their colonies. Nigeria was a colony. Is nothing real. The fact that everything that we are and were, it's just erased for this programming is fascinating, but also disappointing.